Ajde, stojiš iz sedra.
Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com, and today my guest is Sidereal Astrologer Krasi Attasio, who will lead us through the 12 signs for November and an overall prediction for the month as well. Hello, Krasi.
Hello, Wada. Hello, everyone. Yes, we'll be speaking about month of November, and we'll also be discussing, as usual, the 12 ascendants from the two perspectives of the sidereal and tropical zodiac.
Thank you. And by the way, Krasi, are your 2026 readings open now for personal readings? A 1 year prediction. Krasi is giving very big discount for our viewers, from $250 down to $160, I think, for the monthly prediction. Whoever is interested in a private reading with Krasi, I'll put a link below.
Thank you, Wada. Briefly to describe what to expect from the month of November. Now, I would like to tell you first the good news from sidereal perspective. Venus is entering her sign of joy and throne, and this is Libra, where she'll be in November. And this is really very, very beautiful. Venus in Libra, amazing time for beauty procedures, for design, for creative work, for Venus like matters, like you may also do some non-invasive beauty procedures. You can make your own cosmetics. You may do artistic work. Venus is amazing in Libra. So this is the good news. She may also bring us some justice in different matters because the sign of Libra is related to justice. So this is the good news. Of course, there is a point of attention in November, and this is the opposition, which now is valid as we speak, and I believe it will be valid until maybe the 10th of November. This is the opposition between Uranus, who is in the 5th degrees of sidereal Taurus, right in the Pleiades, the critical Pleiades, the 7 subito demons of the Babylonians, or the 7 witches, or in our culture, these are the hens with the hen and the chickens, the Pleiades. And Mars is making opposition to Uranus, and Mars is conjoined Mercury. And on the top of this, Mars is invisible, which makes him quite unpredictable. His actions, his moods, his behaviors are unpredictable. That's why these first 10 days of November are critical in terms of what? Depends where they are in your horoscope, but in general, this can create tension, protests, disagreements, disputes, fights, accidents, natural disasters, all types of invisible Mars stuff, even some forms of health issues. Depends where this is in your horoscope. This is the point of attention for November.
Yeah, yeah. And thankfully, Venus is balances a bit, but Mercury in Taurus, in sidereal Taurus.
Mercury
No,
is
in sidereal Scorpio, sorry.
Scorpio. Yeah, Mercury. And
Ooh, that's
yeah, it's
dangerous
very.
even for kind of terrorists and such kind of stuff.
And for traveling, people should be very careful. We're very well prepared for traveling, and because the matter of unpredictability is very big now because Mars is invisible, so you don't know. He's really so. Also, this is month of lies. They will attempt to lie to us like a lot, big time, like lies. Mars invisible, Mercury invisible, in Scorpio. The good side of this is amazing deal of knowledge which we can receive from because from the conjunction Mars Mercury. Yes, this is the tricky conjunction, we agree, but Scorpio is the sign where you have amazing knowledge. You have sacred degrees in Scorpio. This is the hidden sign, the natural eighth house ruler of the zodiac. So if you are driven to knowledge, to research, you will be lucky. If you are not awake enough, some people, media, mainstream will try to mislead you, deceive you, deception, lies. So this is the risk of this conjunction. And of course, be careful when you travel. Be very careful when you travel. And yet tomorrow, 5th, is the early full moon, 5th of November. And this full moon is also taking place on the axis of Libra Aries. So the emphasis is on disputes, wars, but also some sense of justice because Venus is in Libra and the Sun is in Libra. And the Sun for this full moon is conjoined Gemma. Gemma is the gorgeous star from the constellation of the Northern Crown. This is the most visible, the star with the highest magnitude, and it's about becoming visible with your own talents. So things are very interesting. See, some will become visible with their own art and talents and knowledge, and also lies will be told a lot in the
It's kind of
media.
like hidden tactics, Mars
Oh yeah,
behind the scenes,
behind the
but the
scenes. Yeah.
Venus things you say are good. The artistic stuff, the
Very. And the sun for this full moon, valid for the next 15 days. And I speak from tomorrow on, from the 5th. So Venus with the sun, in Libra in Gamma is great for people who have Libra ascendant. But we speak about this, when we speak about the 12 ascendants. But this could be true blessing, especially for, when you see people who are very visible in the world, in whatever sphere, not only artistic, you oftentimes will see very well placed Gemma, the star of the constellation of the Northern Crown. So this is interesting. And yes, as you said, Venus is balancing everything a lot to big extent, Wada. So we can maybe continue with the 12 ascendants.
yes, thank you, Krasi.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're starting with Sidereal Ascendant Aries or Moon in Aries, or for modern tropical astrology, this is Taurus. So both perspectives. I say to people who are new to these videos we make with Wada, so if you have Sidereal Ascendant Aries, this is tropical Taurus, and if you don't know at what time you're born, then apply your moon sign. So what is happening with people with Sidereal Ascendant Aries? First of all, your ruler Mars is very powerful, but in your 8th house. Very powerful because he's in Scorpio, which is also his kingdom, but he's invisible and he's with Mercury. And this is interesting because as such, Mars, who is also our drive, is your drive to hidden matters, hidden knowledge, secret science, secret esoteric sciences. Also, people with this placement oftentimes want to research death. Also, 8th house is related to fears. I mean, this could be probably your drive, what you're more driven to in the month of November. But use this in a positive way, more for research, for knowledge. On the other hand, also, this full moon, which is happening now and tomorrow, is also on your ascendant and descendant. The emphasis is on you, your thoughts, your plans, your projects. Also, the month can be benevolent for you for reaching justice or bringing peace in your romantic life, in your relationships, fixing and balancing your business, your entrepreneurship. Again, this is because Venus is entering Libra and the Sun is also in your 7th house in a very good degree. Of course, with the placements of Uranus and Mars, this opposition that I promised to explain for each of the 12 ascendants, I want to tell you, especially when you be careful with food poisoning, be careful what you eat. Make sure that you eat proper diet for yourself. Also, make sure that you're very careful when you make financial decisions and when you communicate with family members, with your family roots, with family. Make sure that you are very balanced with them and avoid conflicting situations. So this is the main thing. And also I forgot to mention in our introduction, in the very last days of November, Saturn finally is turning direct, and he may bring some important changes related to your 12th house. And these are hidden enemies and health. Maybe now he will bring you some health solutions, but this is happening in the very end of November. And now let's see people who have sidereal ascendant Taurus or moon in Taurus for modern tropical astrology. This would be Gemini. Now I will speak immediately already for this full moon because it's the winter full moon happening tomorrow, 5th of November. It's on the axis of 12th, 6th houses of yours. This is emphasis on health, winning over enemies, and so the sun is and Venus will be in your 6th house to bring blessing on health matters, on solving and receiving justice from disputes, conflicts which you had. For example, Venus will bless your routine, everyday environment and will help you to receive health healing. Then this opposition between Mars and Uranus, which is valid and is point of attention for us for the first 10 days at least of November, is happening right on your ascendant and descendant. So particularly you may need to be a little bit careful when you negotiate, when you make important decisions, whatever ground they have. Also, make sure that you're patient, loving with your partner, and very careful when you negotiate, and also in your business environment. In the very last days of November, Saturn is becoming direct in your 11th house. These are a little bit critical last days of November. Be a little bit more attentive with friendship circle, with children, and with new projects. Could be that if you had a project that you felt is stuck or not developing or not going anywhere, now you may have some development. So this is about November for you. Be careful also when you travel, especially the first 10 days of November, and when you communicate and when you negotiate with people, and also in general, in your relationship, in your romantic life, also be a little bit forgiving, patient, and so. Let's look now at people who have sidereal ascendant Gemini or moon in Gemini. For modern tropical astrology, this will be Cancer. Now for you, this full moon, I speak about the full moon happening tomorrow, 5th of November. The full moon is emphasizing for you on the axis of 11 5th houses. And this is the axis of friendships, of your plans, even love, attraction, pleasures, creative activity, creativity. So yes, in terms of creativity, you may have the blessing of this full moon. You may feel you have the muse and it's very beautiful. You may be interested in researching creativity, creative, or you may be willing to create art or to study or to do some beauty procedures, to design things. All this will be emphasized with this full moon. Of course, this axis is a little bit axis of, to be careful with friends, with children, and so. The opposition that is a little bit point of attention is taking place for you on the axis of your 12th and 6th houses. This would say particularly be careful with your health, with sharp diseases like flu conditions, like sharp, but don't worry so much. These are things which are very normal to happen. When you're careful, you avoid most of this. Be careful with betrayers, liars in your routine environment, people who share your routine environment. Also, be responsible for your health. Make sure you maintain healthy lifestyle. Make sure that you are responsible for your health, that you stay away from conflicts, disputes, and any risks. Jupiter on your ascendant, even fallen in Gemini, is actually great protection. He's your friend. This is very important to tell you. Venus will be in your 5th house in November to bless your creative activities, beauty projects, beauty, if you want, procedures and everything, and also your love life. So in the end of the month, Saturn becomes direct on your 10th house, which would say that if you be a little bit careful in the last days of November, and when Saturn becomes direct, if you had matters related to your career that you felt are stuck or not going anywhere, you may have some development. But this is last days of November. And now let's look at people who have Sidereal Ascendant Cancer or Moon in Cancer for modern tropical astrology. This is Leo. Now for you, this full moon of tomorrow is taking place on the axis of your career and house. This is the emphasis of your work, big emphasis. Also, Venus will bring blessing on your house, home, mother, and this is going to be valid in November. It will be great to arrange your home. Maybe you have the muse to bring beauty in your house. Also matters like justice related to property, real estate, housing also can be valid. In the meantime, the opposition, which is a position of attention valid for the first 10 days of the month, is taking place on the axis of your 11th and 5th houses, which is axis of attention. Be a little bit careful. When you choose knowledge, when you choose subjects to study, when we're a little bit careful, attentive with children. Also, subjects of creativity could be that there is a small disturbance there. Also, when you make decisions related to money, financial, be a little bit careful also there. Also, Saturn is becoming direct last days of November. He may help you if you felt stuck in matters like knowledge, studies, choosing philosophy, researching religion. If you felt you're stuck with your studies or continuation or let's say finalizing of study, like yes, any type of courses, classes, higher education, you may feel, things are happening already, things are going further, I'm not stuck anymore. Also matters related to media will be also resolved, but these are the very last days of November, let me tell you. Or if you felt like matters involving media, your international work or travel also may be finally resolved. So this is the main thing for you for the month of November. And now people who have Sidereal Ascendant Leo or Moon in Leo for modern tropical astrology, this would be Virgo. For you, this full moon is on the and 3rd houses, which actually is emphasis on media work, on study, knowledge, communication, travel, and it is not bad, even can be blessing because Venus is entering and staying in your 3rd house to bless your communication, relationship with brothers and sisters, to bless your study, travel. So this is actually very nice. You may use the moment to fix relationships if needed with brothers and sisters, for example, or with your neighbors, why not? Then this opposition of attention is taking place and is valid the first 10 days of the month of November and is happening on the axis of 4th 10th houses, which is involving your housing, career. There you may need to be a little bit more careful, especially related to housing. Be careful not to be lied, to be careful from deceptions, especially involving housing situations. And also in your career place, be a little bit more diplomatic and careful, I would say. What else to tell you? The Saturn becomes direct in your 8th house. Maybe he will, if you felt stuck with money from sources like unexpected sources, partnerships, entrepreneurships, maybe things will start moving, but be a little bit careful the last days of November and see first where things are heading before you make important financial decisions. And also for your partner, this would be valid. Now let's see people who have sidereal ascendant Virgo or moon in Virgo. For modern tropical astrology, this will be Libra. Now for you, this full moon happening tomorrow is taking place on the axis of your second and eighth houses to emphasize on money. I think that you even have financial blessing in November because not only the full moon is giving attention on this, but Venus will be in your second house in Libra. So she will be blessing your finances, your relationship with your family, family members, family roots, and so on. The attention of the first 10 days of November is happening on the axis of your third 9 houses, which is be careful with brothers and sisters, with your commercial activity, study. Also, when you travel, be a little bit careful. Make sure that you are very well preparing your travel, studies, teaching, negotiations, commercial trade activities, media work, be careful that you don't be accused into saying things, or be diplomatic and be careful. Also, Saturn is becoming direct in the last days of November on your 7th house. If you felt stuck in your entrepreneurship, if you felt that things are not moving, or you have matters to resolve in your business, also with your partner, you may actually have things moving, but these are last days of November. That's why be a little bit careful when you make decisions in business. Be balanced and careful also with your partner. Now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Libra or moon in Libra for modern tropical astrology. This is Scorpio. For you, the full moon is on your ascendant descendant places, involving you as very important, also your partners, your entrepreneurship, your business, and also you will be having in November the blessing of Venus on your ascendant. She will be protecting you, blessing you, making you feel beautiful, well. She will bring love or bring back the love in your romantic life. So this is really very good. The axis of attention in your horoscope is involving the second 8 houses in astrology. This is financial. Be careful that you don't make wrong financial decisions based on deception or lies. Be careful that you don't hear lies related to family. Could be that you hear something that you don't like, but it will be a lie. It will be misleading. And also, when you make financial decisions, be a little bit careful. So should be your partner. Also, Jupiter from the 9th house in the last decrease is also bringing very good trine of protection, supporting studies, supporting travel. Now Saturn becomes direct in the very last days of November, and he will be bringing resolution related to routine work, health matters too. If you felt things are not moving in these areas of your life, maybe he will be helpful actually a little bit in the last days of November. Now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Scorpio or moon in Scorpio for modern tropical astrology. This will be Sagittarius. Now for you, these days of attention, the first 10 days of the month, involve your ascendant, because now Mars is very powerful, yes, on your ascendant, but he's with Mercury and he's invisible, and he's forming opposition to Uranus, who is now in your 7th house. House of your business, house of your relationships, house of even visible enemies. So you may need to be a little bit careful, especially Mars, Mercury together on your ascendant can create dose of disharmony of your thoughts, sometimes making wrong decisions. Mars invisible is capable of making impulsive decisions. So be a little bit careful. Be careful when you drive. Be a little bit responsible for your health. Make sure that you make right decisions for yourself related to finances too, because Mercury is there and he's ruling your 11th house, he's ruling your 8th house. So be a little bit careful when you make financial decisions, when you make decisions related to new plans, new projects, and friendships. Now, Venus is entering to stay in your 12th house. There, she will support your health, she will support your, let's say, hidden knowledge, but health wise, she can be very good for you. Related, she can bless your sleep actually too. She will really be having very blessing role in your horoscope. In the very last days of November, Saturn becomes direct in your fifth house. There you have fifth house, there you have creative knowledge, children. So you may need to be a little bit careful, attentive with children, because we don't know how Saturn is placed in your horoscope. You may need to be a little bit careful in your love life, that you have balanced relationship. You may need to be careful when you choose. Well, actually, Saturn, when he comes direct, he may bring some organization in, let's say, in your creative activities, artistic work. He can also bring discipline in financial matters in the fifth house, because fifth house is also house of gains. But this is happening in the end of the month of November. So in general for you, because you have Mars, Mercury on your ascendant and Mars on your ascendant during the entire month of November, be a little bit more careful, especially in the first 10 days of the month, but later also. Mainly be careful and be sure that you make very balanced decisions. It doesn't matter which area of your life. Now we're looking at people who have Sidereal Ascendant Sagittarius or Moon in Sagittarius. For modern tropical astrology, this is Capricorn. Now for you, your ascendant ruler, we know, is fallen, but still he remains in Gemini, in the last degrees of Gemini. Still, this is your attention on your romantic life, on your business, entrepreneurship. And even though Saturn is not very powerful in Gemini, still he can bring a blessing on your romantic life. The full moon will take place tomorrow on the axis of your 11th, fifth house's emphasis on your social circle, on your plans, projects, creative activities, money, gains. And Venus will bless all this because she will be transiting through Libra, where she's the queen during the entire month of November. And this is actually very beautiful. She'll bless your children, she'll bless your social circle gains, she'll bring you protection and so. Then the axis of attention for you remains the axis of 12th, 6th houses, where Mars and Mercury make opposition to Uranus, who is in the Pleiades, and this is valid for the first 10 days. So be a little bit careful for your health, responsible for your health. You may have a little bit disturbed sleep, but I think that if you manage to calm your mind, to listen to nice music, to calm your mind, because Mars and Mercury together can be a little bit reason of disharmony related to our thoughts, for example. Also, make sure that you maintain healthy lifestyle. So this is about this opposition, so you may need to be more responsible there for your health. Saturn becomes direct in the very last days of November. This is your fourth house. This is, of course, period, a little bit of attention, of course, but if you felt stuck and slowed down and things not moving related to property, real estate, housing situation, I think now you may have some solutions, resolutions, and in the meantime, be a little bit more attentive with parents, especially with mother. And now let's see people who have Sidereal Ascendant Capricorn on Moon in Capricorn for modern tropical astrology. This will be Aquarius. And now for you, this full moon is happening on the axis of your 10th, fourth houses, emphasis on your career, on your housing, on parents, and Venus is entering to stay during November, your 10th house to bless your work, career, and this is very good. And also parents, and also housing, and also to bring you good feeling because she'll be creating harmonious, not it's a square, but even the square from Venus to ascendant is good. In the meantime, the axis of attention for you is for the first 10 days of the month of November is the axis where this is 11th, the fifth house of your horoscope, where Mars and Mercury in Scorpio make opposition to Uranus. So be a little bit attentive, careful that you're not accused in things that you say. This is about your social circle. Be a little bit more careful and attentive with children. And also make sure that you make very balanced decisions related to friendships, but also finances, connections, friendships, and finances. And also your ascendant ruler Saturn in the very last days of November is becoming direct. And actually this might be good for you because Saturn rules you, your ascendant. And with this, you may feel, oh, I'm now ready to do things. I'm now ready to continue with what I was slowed down. I you may feel that you're ready to, to be very active if you felt that you were previously slowed down. And this is on the axis of your third house of communication, media work, relationships with brothers and sisters. Maybe you revised your relationships and now maybe you can solve them. You have the solution also related to studies, to choosing the right study or to graduate or to choose the right classes and so on. And now let's look at people who have Sidereal Ascendant Aquarius or Moon in Aquarius for modern tropical astrology. This is Aries. For you, the full moon will be on the axis of your third and ninth houses related to travel, to studies, to international communications and media, graduation, choosing the right study or philosophy. And this is the emphasis of the month. And Venus is entering there to bless these activities of yours, especially travel, especially studies. Maybe if you felt that there are subjects of knowledge that you cannot study or you cannot finalize, maybe now you have her blessing, especially on travel, communication, media work, studies. Venus will bring the blessing for you. Now, the axis of attention, especially for the first days of the month of November, is the axis of your 10th, fourth houses. This is career. There you may need to be careful. Maybe November is not the very right month for new ideas, new projects, new suggestions. This you may need to be a little bit careful when you communicate with superiors. Be a little bit careful also when you make decisions related to real estate, property, housing. You may need to be careful because there you may experience changes, but you may need to have things done in a very balanced, harmonious, and proper ways. Saturn, who is your ascendant ruler now, is turning direct, and these are the last days of November. And this actually could be good for you because if you felt slowed down in financial matters, in communication with family, if you felt there is delaying matters like, finances, you may have things running because before you had the time of revision, like revising matters. Now things may start happening again for you. And the last one, Pisces ascendant for Sidereal Astrology and Aries for the tropical perspective. For you, the full moon of tomorrow is happening on the axis of Aries, Libra, which is your second and eighth houses. This is importance and emphasis on finances. And benevolent could be the eighth house because there also Venus is entering to stay in November, to bless finances of your partner, finances from your entrepreneurship, business, and unexpected sources, and so on. So in this sense, this can be useful. Then the 10 days of attention, the first 10 days of November, happen on the axis of your third and ninth houses. So you may need to be careful when you study, schooling, classes, teaching, education, philosophy, also traveling. You may need to be careful. I would say during the entire month of November, but especially prominent, this is for the first 10 days of the month. When you travel, be a little bit careful too. Then Saturn turns retrograde last days of November, right on your ascendant, the first degree, turns direct. Now he's retrograde. So when he turns direct on the first, on your ascendant, if you felt that before you had time of delay or revising previous matters, relationships, and whatnot, now you may have the results of your delays, especially when this involves romantic life, personal decisions, decisions related to also health and social circle, finances, and whatnot. You may see things moving again, but this is for the very last days of November. So we're finishing here with the 12 ascendants, Wada.
Thank you so much, Krasi, for giving us
Thank you.
to the point predictions for November. Thank you everyone for joining us as well. And if anyone wants to connect with Krasi, she's opening for our viewers 30 or 40% almost discount on her yearly readings for 2026, personal reading with Krasi. I'm putting a link below. And yeah, and soon Krasi will also have her yearly horoscopes for the 12 signs on our channel. Looking forward to that, Krasi.
Thank you, Wada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.